everyone. I'm Anca MAROLA. I'm Chief Data Officer at LVMH Group. I'm here with Matthieu NICOU, Chief Digital Officer at GUERLAIN, an ExCom member, and Violette, who's Chief Data Officer at Group Les Écoles Le Parisien, also ExCom member. The topic of our conversation today is generative AI. I think we have all heard about generative AI 1,000 times during this event. But I would say, even though it's been present for quite some years already as a technology, in the last year, it really witnessed some breakthrough innovations. And so the quality of its outputs really became much more better than before. And so for us, obviously, it grabbed our attention, especially because sometimes it's freakishly good. So you're asking yourself, will this replace us? How creative is this generative AI? So I think this is the heart of our debate. How can we, as a creative industry, adopt properly generative AI? And will it replace us as people? I would say for me, the other thing that happened with ChatGPT is we really triggered a sort of a aha moment in minds of the entire people on the planet. And I actually consider it to be quite similar to COVID in the sense that it's a catalyzer for change and transformation. So as COVID, all of a sudden, everyone on the planet was aware of e-commerce, and everyone started working on it. The same with ChatGPT and generative AI. Everyone on the planet started using it. So consumer adoption, consumer awareness really grew a lot. And that was really the tipping point, I would say. And as a result, we have all the tech companies switching all of their investments now into generative AI, which means that everything will reshuffle in the next years. So all of the tools that we're using today, as we speak, they're developing ways to integrate generative AI. So the leaders of tomorrow won't be the same as the leaders of today. And I think we'll start seeing that in the next year. So we even have NVIDIA that got valued at $1 trillion after announcing that they're investing in generative AI more. So it's really, I think, it's a real shakeup of our industry, of everyone's industries. And it's important that everyone takes it very seriously. The one thing that generative AI did was democratize access to creativity. So all of the sudden, we have everyone on the planet accessing much easily tools to express their own creative vision. So this is what's different. And so it's creating opportunities, but also challenges. One thing that we can expect is there will be exponentially more content in the world. And so that can be a good thing, but also a bad thing. There's going to be acceleration in product innovation because ideating and prototyping will become much faster. So product development speed will increase. And it's important to stay competitive on that front because that's core of everyone's business. And then in terms of customer experience, there's some areas that, frankly, were pretty average before. So it opens up new fields of opportunities for us. So we have, for example, chatbots. Honestly, they were very average. We didn't particularly like them in the luxury industry. I predict that in the next year or so, the tools will become so much more sophisticated and qualitative that there will be much more mass adoption of chatbots. The other thing that's impacting business is the shift of search, just the way we discover as people, brands, and topics, because search has announced to shift towards generative search results. So it means that that will potentially impact massively the way we do acquisition and the way our brands are being discovered. And of course, it's very important to consider the impact that it has on employees and society, because I would say AI wasn't necessarily on everyone's top of mind until recently. But we see with generative AI, now most jobs have the opportunity to employ generative AI. And aside from that, I believe that there was also this difficulty in having a data-driven mindset because we had a barrier between hard skills and technique, and then the business vision. And now I feel like this will be bridged by a personal BI chatbot that every employee will have in the future, hopefully. But this creates really important stakes for us as well. One is, in a world where there is mass generation of new content that is similar to me to the birth of social media and influencers, how do you keep control of your brand image? And how do you keep control also of the copyright? Because we know when you use generative AI, you don't necessarily always have copyright. So that's important to know. And of course, how do you stand out from all this noise? There will be much more noise. How do you differentiate as a brand? And of course, employing these techniques will change the way you can be competitive or not in the future in the market. The other very important stake is reskilling employees on AI. When we had the Industrial Revolution, we had to train people to work with machines. When we had computers, we had to train people to use computers. It didn't happen naturally, you know? And I feel like with AI, it's been around for a long time, but we haven't really skilled at mass all the employees in using AI. So that is really a major stake, especially now with all of this massive implications on everyone's jobs. And lastly, but maybe the most important, is we have these powerful tools. How are we making sure that we are using them for the right purpose? So I think we have to truly govern the way we're building AI and using AI. We should always protect the trust, and we should always protect the interest of customers and people. So we have to build a responsible way of managing AI. So to conclude, I think that generative AI is the way to use it the best is by bridging these two worlds. So bringing the creative vision and thoughts of people, putting people in the center, and then equipping them with these powerful tools of the future. And I think maybe the thread is authenticity. Making sure you're not just doing things with new tech for the sake of doing things, but you're anchoring it in real needs that make people's lives better in general. And I think this is where I was thinking to have GUERLAIN over to tell us about their story, because GUERLAIN is quite an old brand. It exists for centuries. So how did you, Matthieu, find ways to use generative AI for this?
So this year, this is the 170th anniversary of the B bottle, the iconic fragrance bottle from GUERLAIN. So it was born in 1853, still very modern. You can find it in all our stores, and it will be there for the centuries to come. So this is how we wanted to celebrate this anniversary, and we generated with AI a film that will make you travel from 1853 up to 2193. So 170 years in the past and 170 years in the future. So the basic principles, maybe you know, for years, developers have learned machines to analyze images and attach keywords to some of these elements. The idea is, what if you switch the process? What if you give keywords to a computer and ask to generate an image? What if you're asking for people playing volleyball on a beach? Press the button, you get the image. Every time you try, you have a new image. It did not exist before. This is really generated. That's a super simple version of it. But when we started the project, that's a totally different story. Actually, it has been much more complicated than what expected. We use stable diffusion, and we started by installing our own form of AI on our computers to secure also the data, and then started the learning phase of it. So we went down to the basement, get some images from our heritage, and started to feed the AI to start to learn what is GUERLAIN, what is the B bottle. And it has been really a heavy workload, a lot of iteration to be able to generate these images, and at the end to get a final movie, using almost 10 kind of different AIs to generate the image, to be able to produce a movie. And on top of the technology, there is a huge human work that has been done. We worked with the person in charge of heritage at GUERLAIN to define, for example, in the past, what were the key moments in the history of GUERLAIN, what are the codes of those moments in terms of revolution, industrial revolution or arts, to feed again the machine. And here was born the project, born in 1853, made for the future. So now, let the magic operate. If we ask to the AI, the B bottle born in 1853, made for the future, here are some of the crazy artworks that came out of the machine. So from the Nouvel Empire up to the future. So we'll go very quickly through the images, but you can join us on the booth to get more information. Every time to get an image, you have a prompt. This is what you see on the screen. And we got a lot of crazy images. I will make a stop, for example, just on one. You see, this is made of glass, for example, and you can almost feel the variation in the glass density. If you look at that one, how crazy the level of details that have been generated by the AI, this is really, really stunning what can be done. So we move into the future, the present, and here we are into the future with Paris in few years. And now leaving the Earth, exploring new planets. Now we let you discover the full movie so that you can see the final product. Thank you.
So Matthieu, I think, first of all, you've mentioned something that shocked me. You said you have not used any editors. So these images are the ones purely generated by AI, which is quite impressive. So how did you get to this level of quality? How long did it take you?
So it has been a very extensive human work to achieve that, because when we started with AI, I would say we were a bit disappointed by the quality of what came out of the machine. So it's a very long learning process to progressively refine the images that are provided by the machine. What is important to have in mind is that these AIs, they don't know what is beautiful. So they don't know what will bring emotion to people. We had a lot of visitors on the booth, and it's amazing how people react. But you need human to select those images, those very precise visuals that you've seen. And here it's only human that can do that. So it's a lot of work to progressively refine what you have so that you can really create the emotion out of the creative works from the machine.
And I'm going to delegate to you the tough question of this talk, which is, after all the work that you've been doing with AI, is generative AI creative, and will it replace us humans?
So no. Yes, it's creative, but not as much again as what we expected. Because it was the AI was at ease when we were creating from the past, because we had a lot of visuals in our patrimony, so we had a lot of material to feed the AI, much more complicated to envision the future. So no kind of creativity to vision the future, so we almost had to describe to the machine, like when you describe an image to a blind person, this is a bit what we had to say. to really, with the prompt, tell what we want to get. Otherwise, the AI was not that creative. And it will not replace human, because I have some people that work on the project here. I can tell you it's human work. Especially on the creative phase, I would say what really is a change is on the production phase. Really on the moment where you want to get an image. I don't know how we could have done that with Photoshop or whatever. It's a huge amount of work. So on this very specific part of the project, yes, it really helps human, and it's a big change, I think.
So basically what you're saying is it's creative because it gives us some inspiration that we didn't think of, but especially when we talk about the past, it doesn't project itself very well in things that don't exist in the future yet.
Yes, at least yet.
Yeah.
So maybe next week it will be different, but in our experience, that was really the change of the project.
Thank you. So I think what we've seen is an example of a brand leveraging it for creative purposes anchored in its brand identity. I think the other side that I wanted to tackle is we know that AI is way beyond a company's business objectives. It's really also impacting society. And to be honest, the newspapers have been at the forefront of influencing public opinion. So obviously playing a key role in shaping the society point of view of tomorrow. So of course, this is a much trickier topic. How do we employ generative AI in the news?
Yes, thank you. So just maybe a quick overview of the Groupe Les Échos Le Parisien before getting into the subject. So we are a leading media group on the market with 9 news brands, but also several positions in classical music, or we are also a great premium event producer at the front of which Vivatech. So I think that you're right to say that we have a major role to play concerning public opinion. And you all know that all AI specialists are actually pointed the fact that misinformation will be maybe the #1 threat with coming from generative AI. But still, we really think that, of course, generative content has nothing to do with great qualitative journalism, right? Journalism and qualitative journalism that we are delivering actually is made by more than 700 journalists within the group. And you need real humans to fact-check everything. You need real humans to provide opinion, because AI doesn't know yet how to react in a situation that have never occurred before, right? And she's not able yet to. It's not able yet to have emotional intelligence and even to connect some very contextual universe which are very different one by the other. So journalism has a tremendous potential in front of it. And to be very transparent with our readers, we have chosen to publish 3 weeks ago, we chose to publish a kind of manifesto about how a generative AI could be used, or not used actually, inside our newsroom. So to be very clear, we won't publish anything that would be entirely or even partially made by generative AI, but it could be some uses in very restrictive case, such as synthesis. So if journalists want to use that for synthesis, as they would have used another tool like 3 years ago, or search engine or anything, so it's possible. Or it's also possible if they want to use generative text to speak about or to illustrate an article about AI. So it's really in a few cases. And in a way, it will be also mentioned to our readers, because our relationship with our readers is really above everything.
So basically what you're saying is you're more on the side of restricting usage, especially when it comes to personal opinions and making sure that authentic views of the future get across to your readers. But also, you do see some opportunities in some areas, but it's more on the operational side, helping the person.
Yes, exactly. So you said earlier that you were seeing AI as an enabler or as an enhancer of creativity. I also see AI as an enabler to our purpose, which is to contribute to the emergence of a more responsible society by informing citizens every day. So maybe here is our purpose, just described. The big thing with generative AI, I think, is it's a huge opportunity for us to actually deliver our content to more and more citizens with the ability almost instantly converting text to speech and speech to videos and every combination of these three. It's also a great opportunity to translate our content into several languages. So this is really an enhancer and a booster to have a broader audience. And then the last thing is about the multi-variations trade we could make from an original content to another one, especially with videos. Mm-hmm. You have an original video, you can put this on YouTube or on TikTok very easily. And that's it. So I think it's a great opportunity for us, actually.
Okay, so making the information more accessible once you have it.
Exactly.
So what we have has to be done by humans, and then the way to make it more available in a more efficient way to the audience, that's where you see the opportunity.
Yes, exactly. And I love this quote from Jean Fourastier, who said that the machine were leading humans to specialize in humanity. And I think it's really that. You know?
It's true. I agree. I think this is kind of what's controversial in a way. I mean, controversial, maybe counterintuitive, is that the machine and AI will make us have to be exceedingly good at what makes us profoundly human, which is empathy, creativity, and that unexpected element of tomorrow, right?
Exactly.
I think first of all, the code of conduct are going to become very important for all companies because these technologies are very powerful. So we at LVMH are also working on this. And maybe to finish with a vision on generative AI, I think that it is not creative, to answer the initial question. It is creative in the sense that it gives you more breadth in terms of inspiration that you didn't expect, but it doesn't create the future that we want for our society for tomorrow. That future is a better future that is an evolution of today. So it's not what AI is good at. The AI is learning from the past and propagating the past towards the future. So if you want to build that unexpected best society of tomorrow, I believe that we shouldn't let AI do it by itself. We have to apply that human intelligence on top. So to me, I think the alliance of these two worlds is the winning recipe of tomorrow. It's not one. It's not just the human vision. It's not just the machine. The alliance of both will make the recipe of winning tomorrow. Thank you very much.